What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Locker Room Rant. I'm your host, John V. And to my right over here is this goofball, Nick. He's clearly feeling his victory Tuesday. Tell me, Nick, how's your victory week going so far, bro?
Fantastic. I'm on cloud nine right now. Browns essentially paved their way to the playoffs this past week. In the toughest division in football. In the toughest conference in football. Best team in football, Cleveland Browns.
Best team in football is definitely just your opinion.
I know people.
It's not a ranking, and that is not a fact.
I know people are having trouble realizing it. The media is having trouble realizing it. They can't process it. But the Browns are the best team in football.
Let's see how you do next week, because I don't have you leaving Pittsburgh victorious.
Oh, well, we're not going to be leaving Pittsburgh. They're coming to Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're coming to Cleveland. Either way.
We're going to handle business.
I see that game being huge. Either way, it doesn't really affect your playoff implications.
Nope.
Neither one of you are a lock for the playoffs. You guys are all in the hunt.
We're almost. We'd have to lose 75% of our games, John.
You're literally in the hunt, bro. There's nothing else to it.
We'd have to lose 75% of our games and not make the playoffs.
But you're in the hunt. It's not a lock. You guys are not a lock.
We're leading the hunt. We're one of the leaders of the hunt.
Okay. Nonetheless, the Cleveland Browns are not the best football team in football.
I would venture to say they are. And I'm going to make that argument a little later.
You would have to be ranked above the Kansas City Chiefs. And we both know you're not. So that being said,
we won't play them until the playoffs. If we play them in the playoffs,
they would light you up.
They haven't been lighting anyone up.
They will.
They haven't been lighting anyone up with the exception of a couple people.
You need to go probably you need to fall back, Nick. You're a little
Mad's mind freak. I want you to save that. I want you to save this comment that you just said. And we're going to talk about it later. We're not going to jump off the gun. We're not going to start talking about Browns and the 49ers. We're going to get to a couple smaller things first. But we're going to come back to that. Okay? We're going to come back to that and we're going to talk about it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills, man.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most controversial team right now. They're 5-5. They just lost a game last night versus Denver, which, I mean, you really have to be a special kind of stupid to fuck that up. You really have to. I mean, this is a $1 billion entity, right? The NFL is massive, on a massive scale. You cannot afford to have stupidity amongst the 32 organizations. Stupidity is what cost the Buffalo Bills last night potentially a leg forward towards the playoffs.
I mean, actually had them at the beginning of the season not making the playoffs.
This team is week in, week out, slithering by. Josh Allen is, probably one of the most overrated quarterbacks in football.
What you like a year ago you were saying if only we had a Josh Allen. If only we had a Josh Allen.
A year ago is a long time ago, but let's break that down a little bit. Josh Allen's arm is his obvious. That's his strength.
Actually, I beg to differ that. I would say Josh Allen's strength is his legs. And here's the problem. I understand the argument that you want to protect his career. I understand the argument that you want to keep him around as long as possible. But here's the thing. When he's not running the ball like a bat out of hell, he's not as good. His throws aren't as good. Okay? I get it. It keeps him into injury, and you might want to tone that down with the amount of hits that he takes and tell him to get his ass down before like he gets hit by 18 defenders. But you have to run Josh Allen. That's the key to his success. If you don't do that, you neuter him. You neuter Josh Allen, and it makes the entire Buffalo Bills offense neutered, and they're not that good when you don't run Josh Allen like you were. His calling card is his legs. He has a very powerful arm, but it's not necessarily the most accurate arm all the time. So you have to.
It's not conducive to run your quarterback. I mean, a very expensive quarterback at that. Between the tackles on the outside, you shouldn't have to do that, especially at the clip that they were doing. They were excessive last year, and they end up hurting him. He ended up getting hurt because of it.
I get it, but that's the risk you got to take.
No, you've got to moderate that. There's got to be a balance, bro. Come on.
But it has to be more. It has to be more design runs for Josh Allen.
No,
because otherwise they're a normal offense.
I disagree.
Every team has their Stephon Diggs guy. Just about. Not all teams have them, but almost every team has their Stephon Diggs guy. You guys have one in kind of not. I don't think he's as good as Stephon Diggs, but in Brandon Ayuk, we have one in Amari Cooper. The Dolphins have one in Tyreek Hill. The Ravens really don't have one. But the Chiefs have one in Travis Kelce. They have their go-to guy that they can go to. Otherwise, you're talking about Gabe Davis, who's been very underwhelming. You're talking about Dalton Kincaid, who is pretty nice, but I mean, he's not like a dominant tight end. And you have no running game. I mean, your running game's not great. You have to utilize Josh Allen to his maximum potential if you want any chance of being a dominant team, which the Buffalo Bills have proven they could do because the Buffalo Bills have not really changed that much, especially offensively, over the past 3 years. And at one point in time, they were a dominant offense. Now they're not. And the only thing that I can deduce from that is that they're not utilizing Josh Allen the way they used to. So I don't think that has anything to do with Dorsey. I mean, actually, I take that back. I think Dorsey either wanted to maximize Josh Allen's longevity, or he was told to do that and told not to run Josh Allen as much as they used to. Either way, bad move. I don't necessarily know if it's Dorsey that should take the blame for that, but change had to be made because their offense has been kind of mediocre all season.
There's so much that I don't agree with. I don't even want to get into it.
But get into it. We got time to kill.
This is Josh Allen to me, Nick, right now he's hurting the Buffalo Bills. McDermott is hurting the Buffalo Bills. Ken Dorsey was hurting the Buffalo Bills. There's a lot going on in Buffalo right now, and that team is moving further and further away at a playoff berth. And their window is, in fact, closing. And I know that Josh Allen believes that. There's only a matter of time before Stephon Diggs asks to be traded out of Buffalo.
Well, I think Stephon Diggs is already doing that. I think he's utilizing his brother to do that.
The text message,
yeah,
or that was it a tweet or whatever? What was a tweet?
What do you call a tweet? What do you call a tweet nowadays? You still call it a tweet?
I mean, I'm not calling it X. I think it sounds like that. But nonetheless, I mean, look, bro. I see a guy throwing picks week in, week out, and they're all hurting. They're all like he used to be able to throw a pick and it didn't really make a difference. Do you remember that? Remember they were high, they're putting 40 up. You know, he'd throw a pick.
Yeah, there's a reason.
And last game, in the victories, they would be making such a stride in the. I don't know, bro. Do you think Dorsey was the fall guy?
He probably was. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of their team, but let me put it to you this way. I mean, last game, yesterday, Josh Allen only had four rushes. Only 4 rushes. Josh Allen can't succeed by only rushing the ball 4 times. What
are you doing?
I mean, Josh Allen needs to rush the ball over 10 times for this team to have any success. And he hasn't done that. I'm not saying try to bull rush people, but I'm not saying take unnecessary hits, but you have to run. That's the strength of Josh Allen. Josh Allen's strength is running the football.
Yes, but running it at a balanced rate. You can't sit here and you got James Cook, right? You got Murray. They finally have a running back room. They don't need to run Josh Allen.
But there's
they didn't even have any semblance of a run game last year. Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
Yeah, but there's a difference when you run the ball with Josh Allen. There's a difference when you run the ball with the running backs. When you run the ball with the running backs, everyone knows the running back is getting the ball. They know it's going to be a run play. When you hike the ball to the quarterback and the quarterback gets the ball in his hands, now you're worried about 2 things. You're not worried about one. So it enables your offense to be a little more dynamic. This needs to be part of the Buffalo Bills offense. They don't have the talent in playmakers to succeed otherwise. They're not the Miami Dolphins that have 3 capable receivers. They're not the Cleveland Browns who, for some reason, it doesn't matter who they put in there, their line's automatically dominant. They're not the 49ers who have these playmakers that are capable of kind of manufacturing an offense. They're not a lot of teams who have a lot of talented weapons. They just don't have that. They have one guy really who's uber talented, and that's Stephon Diggs. And if they can shut him down, you kind of can shut down the Buffalo Bills offense unless Josh Allen takes over.
Steve-O says they aren't calling plays for Diggs. I thought that was part of the problem too, Steve-O, but I also have noticed, or at least in the past, they target him a lot. They really do target him a lot. They targeted Gabe Davis a lot less. And I think that's where, they probably could use another receiver. They probably should have added a receiver.
Listen, a lot of people bought in the hype in Gabe Davis after that playoff game that he had, where he had like 200 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Are we talking about the shootout with Mahomes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis is a guy. Let's be honest. He's just a guy. He's like a solid.
And what is everybody else? Fucking superheroes? I don't understand.
He's a solid number 2 or 3 receiver.
He's just a human man.
He's not like one of the better ones. Brandon Ayuk's probably better than Gabe Davis.
Nick, this isn't. I'm not talking about who's better. I'm just saying, like, you started targeting Gabe Davis a lot less. That's a fact.
I mean, I don't know if that's true.
Well, let's look it up.
I mean, I don't know if they're targeting Gabe Davis a lot. I got to be honest, I don't watch every single Buffalo Bills game. The games I watch primarily are the Browns and the Ravens. I try to keep up on all the teams, but I don't watch every single minute of every single game. I watch highlights and stuff like that. But, I mean, I did watch last game because it was the Monday night game. And, I don't know if they're calling less plays for Diggs. That seems to me very counterintuitive. And if you were a coach that was allowing that to happen, maybe you deserve to get fired. So I don't think that's happening. I think they're calling plays for Diggs. He's just covered. Like, you can't throw it to a covered guy. And Diggs is not the type of guy you throw to when he's covered. He's not a big guy. He's a small, shifty guy. Like, you can't just throw it when he's covered by 2 or 3 guys. He's not gonna be able to go beast up and make that catch.
All right, let's wrap it up about this. I'm getting bored with the Bills talk.
All right. Well, let's tie it up. Let's tie it up. You think they're gonna make the playoffs or no?
No. I honestly, God, don't believe they do.
I didn't think that. I think they were at the start of the season. I don't think they are now.
Yeah, it's Nick. I specifically remember Gabe Davis being a burner, and I remember his shifty, speedy little self getting into open space, and I remember Josh Allen hitting him in that game.
Gabe Davis is 6'4", 6'5". He's a big receiver.
He didn't look that big to me. That's shocker to me.
Yeah, his speed is not that great.
I did not know he was 6'4", 6'5". I think that's
I think you're lying. Gabe Davis is very big.
No, I think you made that up. All right.
Let's take a look.
All right. So moving along, Nick, let's talk about this.
He's not that tall. He's 6'2", though. That's still
exactly.
Pretty big. I mean, that's still pretty big. He's not a fast guy, though.
6'5". Get the fuck out of here.
But you acted like he was 5'10".
I mean, I honest to God, I thought he was probably about 6 foot.
No. Bigger receiver. Right.
Moving on. Let's talk about the Browns. Let's get it out.
You want to talk about the Browns or CJ Stroud first?
Oh, well, let's talk about CJ. If we can talk about anybody but the Browns first, I'm down.
All right.
Good.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on CJ Stroud?
I think he should probably be in the conversation for MVP, but I understand that his team is not as good.
I mean, they're not bad.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to be a 7. You got to be a 7. You got to be a 7-win team.
I mean, you said it yourself. What did they win last year? 3 games?
Yeah, they were garbage, and D'Amico's got them potentially in a playoff situation.
Yeah. Their team's not dramatically different, with the exception for CJ Stroud. I mean, they drafted my. We unfortunately didn't get a chance to do a draft show, but they had my draft. They drafted my draft crush this past year, and that was Nathaniel Tank Dell. And Tank Dell has looked utterly amazing. I wish the Browns would have got him. And Nico Collins has looked very good under CJ Stroud. Noah Brown looks absolutely amazing with CJ Stroud as a quarterback.
I think it's safe to say that CJ is elevating their play, much like Mahomes does it in Kansas City with average at best, right?
Well, I mean, I would argue to say that he's done it even more, because I don't think Mahomes has done it to the receivers that he has right now, because those
but they win because of Mahomes, and in this case, they're winning because of CJ. CJ is, I think, how many touchdowns has he thrown so far?
I mean, his touchdown to interception ratio is like ridiculously good. I think last game was only his second interception of the season. That late interception that he had, it was only his second one. As far as total touchdowns, I don't know, but I
cannot believe that he's in conversation for MVP. That is absolutely insane.
Well, I thought it was a ridiculous thing that
15. He's got 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Got a QB rating of 101. Really impressive.
I thought it was a ridiculous thing when Bryce Young was drafted above him. Like, nobody ever justified that to me. What? Like how you could fathom CJ Stroud, a big, not necessarily the fastest guy in the world, but with decent athleticism, pro-ready quarterback. And you get Bryce Young, this little scat-backy, he's got decent intangible like things, but you can never really like assess that pre-draft. CJ Stroud was obviously the number 1 pick. And the Panthers tricked themselves into taking Bryce Young. Like, absolutely ridiculous.
Ohio State doesn't really have any history of producing, champions. And I mean, look, Justin Fields.
Well, I don't think the story is written on Justin Fields yet. Second of all, screw history. We got to quit.
CJ's the better quarterback out of the two, bro.
What's that?
CJ's the better quarterback out of the two.
Well, I'm saying we got to quit looking at history. History doesn't mean shit. History was yesterday. You got to look forward at some point in time. You have to be able, as an NFL talent evaluator, you have to be able to evaluate talent and say, yes, CJ Stroud is obviously better than Bryce Young. And I don't care where he went to school. If he went to Ohio State, who doesn't necessarily produce good quarterbacks. proves NFL quarterbacks. First of all, I don't think the story's written on Justin Fields yet. I think Justin Fields still has, it might not be as bright of a future as he used to have, but I think he does have a bright future in the league. I don't think any of the other guys were necessarily surefire NFL ready quarterbacks. I don't think who's the kid who died crossing the street?
Oh, I don't think he was.
What's that?
I don't think he was crossing the street. You're talking about from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I
know his name starts with an H. I can't. It's like leaving my head right now. But he wasn't a ready quarterback. He wasn't an NFL ready quarterback, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, who else did we have? Justin Barrett was never. He was. I mean, especially when you play under the Urban Meyer style, you're probably not going to be NFL ready because he doesn't run an NFL style system, and he never got those type of quarterbacks.
CJ is. I mean, I'd love to see him win MVP. That would be absolutely lights out.
He's probably not going to do it. He's probably not going to do it.
I mean, there's a strong conversation to be made as long as he keeps throwing touchdowns. If they keep winning, bro. I mean, look, as long as CJ's play doesn't like, as long as he doesn't lose in spite of picks, this, that, and the other, you know, if he keeps on this trajectory, makes a very good argument for MVP.
They got a lot of
even with a team that's not as, you know, they have the talent.
They got to play the Cardinals next week. Who, I got news for you. There's a guy who's back in Kyler Murray. Yeah. Who they look pretty good. They won last week. They play the Jaguars, not a bad team. I know the 49ers kicked the shit out of them this week, but they're not a bad team. They could very well easily win. The Broncos, you know, I'm not necessarily sold on them. But you know, they played a pretty good game last night. So they're not going to be a pushover. The Jets are going to be a tough defense to go up against. The Titans, you never know what you're going to get. They actually play the Titans 2 weeks in a row. That's weird. And they play the Browns. I got news for you. They're quarterback killers. And the Colts. Yeah, that's a really, honestly, there's not a weak team. There's not really a weak team, in my opinion, in that crop of games. He's probably going to have another bad game or two. And it's probably going to push him out of that conversation. But he's got Rookie of the Year wrapped up. If he didn't play
Bash? I see you, bro. Gammon, I see you, man. Melissa, I see you. Cool Nick, Roy Boy, Mad Minds Freak. We talked to Steve-O. I don't know, man. I don't really know what to say about the rest of the season for the Browns.
You mean for the Texans?
I mean the Texans. They're very, very winnable games. They could beat the Jets.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's not a bad team in that crop that they have to play. It's a kind of a tough schedule. Like there's,
but I mean, they weren't expected to defeat them all, but I think they can win them. I do believe they can win at least 4 of those games.
Sure, but if they only win 4 of those games, Stroud's not going to be MVP.
I understand that. But
like I said, he's got Rookie of the Year wrapped up.
He was never supposed to be MVP. The fact that he's in the conversation is just incredible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that we're even talking about it, whether we're even bringing it up as an option. But anyways, CJ Stroud, fantastic. He's playing absolutely out of his mind. Has the D'Amico and Stroud have the Texans on the right track. I like D'Amico as a coach, and you know, I've said it before. I said it last year before Stefanski. Like there was talk of whether or not, I don't think it was really talk in the organization whether or not they were going to let Stefanski go. But I said if they did, I wanted D'Amico Ryans. He's a good coach.
He would have done something special with the Browns, I think, actually.
Well,
a little bit more creative than Stefanski, in my opinion.
Good segue into what we're going to talk about now. Did you watch the game, John?
Yeah.
Browns versus Ravens.
Yeah. Great game.
The Browns
really great game.
Browns are going to give me a goddamn heart attack.
Yeah, like, when your team starts winning games, and I know that's something you're not used to. When your team starts winning games and you get closer to the postseason, cardiac games are a part of it, brother.
So this game, first of all, this game was of the utmost importance. Like, there is no other game on the schedule that was more important than this game, because
you split with them, right? They beat you early on.
If you split, first of all, if we lost, we're not 6-3, we're now 5-4. We're now in that jumbled mess of people trying to claw for like those wild card spots. On top of that, you know, the Ravens would have 2 games on us. On top of that, we would lose another game in our division. It was all bad if we lost that game. Okay. The fact that the Browns won that game, now we're split with the Ravens. Now we're essentially tied with the Ravens. I know we're a game back, but that's just because the Ravens haven't had their bye week yet. Now we're essentially tied or maybe even ahead in the division. It's looking, that game was super important. It's more important than the Pittsburgh game. The Pittsburgh game is probably the second most important game on that schedule. After that, it's the Browns. If the Browns can handle business in Pittsburgh, which I'm starting to get more confident in this team that they're just going to handle business. The Browns are definitely in the playoffs. They're probably going to win the North. You
got to be.
I told people from the beginning of the season that this team had so much talent on it at so many different levels.
Dude, we've already known that.
Yeah,
football fans have known that the Browns had a roster. They just never had they never had the coaches to get it going, bro. We've known that for 5 years now.
It seems to me that one of the most asinine things that a lot of people who should know better had the Browns winning 6 games this season. Looking at that roster,
6 games.
We've already won 6 games.
Right.
The season is just halfway over.
But right now, most teams have met their mid-season form. And the Steelers look quite well in that form. So do you.
The Browns
be a good game in Cleveland.
The Browns haven't even honestly, in my opinion, haven't even shaped into form yet. I think the Browns' potential is much higher.
That's not good.
It's actually very good. I think the Browns are already.
We don't have an identity established right now. If the Browns,
we have an identity, and I believe it should have been. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with Stefanski. I believe they should have identified this identity before, but they seem to have found it. And I'm not going to cry that they found it a little late. But especially, I'll take it back. The narrative before the season was. And this was a dumb narrative, in my opinion. I always said this was stupid. They said the Browns will go as far as Deshaun Watson takes them. And I said, absolutely not. They're not going to go as far as Deshaun Watson takes them. They're going to go as far as his defense takes them. Now, I wasn't expecting this defense to be the number 1 defense in the league. I wasn't expecting that. But I thought they were going to be a top 5 defense, and I thought that was good enough. This defense... with all aspects of their defense, with the secondary, with their D line, even their linebackers are playing out of their freaking minds.
Eduardo, what's up, fam?
What's going on, Eduardo? What's going on, Mariah? Even that.
What's up, Joe? I see you, bro.
This defense is dynamic, and then when you put in their offense always should have been run first, kick ass on the line and run first and do screens and throw the ball to do screens, not just to your running backs, but the freaking David Njoku, and let them just kick ass all the way down the field. David Njoku made probably the greatest play in the history of me ever watching football last game.
What did he do?
When he caught that pass and just basically beasted that linebacker and then carried Stone for like 20 yards, like a little freaking child, like a little 3-year-old that wanted to get that didn't want to stand at the grocery store. That's what Njoku basically did to him. I honestly think that was the turning point in the game. I think with that play, Njoku said, "Motherfuckers, we're not getting beat today." And the rest of the team was like, "All right, we don't want to get our ass kicked by Njoku."
What was this? What was the turning point? What was the turning point? The real turning point, not Njoku.
I honestly think that was the turning point. I think after that play,
was that Ford Jr.?
Which are you talking about? The one at the end of the second half?
Yeah, it was more in the third quarter.
No, that was at the end of the second half. So Ford Jr. kind of popped Lamar, which Lamar deserved to get popped.
Oh my God, dude, he popped him right off his feet, dude.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I thought Lamar was out of bounds when he hit him.
No, he was trying to cut back in.
I saw it. I saw it on the replay.
Don't do that shit. If you want to do that shit,
off his feet, bro.
Yeah, you're gonna get popped. And then the common adage is that Lamar probably got a little pissed and wanted to test Ford, and then Ford picked him off.
Yes, immediately after that.
Mm-hmm.
The next play.
But the thing is, they didn't get anything on that. Like, they didn't score points off that. And it still would have been kind of hard for Baltimore to score points.
That's the problem with you guys. You guys are struggling to score off of, you should be scoring every possession.
I mean, but we only had like 40 seconds left, John. We didn't have a lot of time to score.
Kick a field goal.
Well, we should have kicked the field goal. That's the one of the things I was kind of pissed off about Stefanski with.
Was that the one they were setting it up for? Was it a 58-yard field goal?
Yeah. I was like,
he pulled him off the field.
That. Hopkins has made that this year. Why would you not try it?
I saw that. They pulled him off the field. I was like, dude, I thought he could. Look, I wasn't sure that he'd hit it, but I know that he can.
He's made it this year. He's made a 58-yarder.
A lot of guys have kicked him,
dude. Yeah. Try it. What's the worst that could happen? Anyways, that being said, I honestly think the Njoku play was the turning point. Njoku basically took that series over. He had a couple big plays. And then, one of the things about this team is they don't quit either. Like that Prochet fumble, the fumble on special teams, which I'll talk a little bit about that later. But that would have killed the Browns in previous years. The Browns have had numerous games in the past 2 decades where they've been beating a team or they've been coming back, and then they made a stupid freaking play like that, and it just takes all the air out of their sails. But this team's not letting that affect them. This team's just basically like, all right, we messed up. Let's roll. Let's finish it out. The extra point by Hopkins.
Motivated. There's a lot of motivation here. Let's be real.
The extra point by Hopkins being missed. That would have been a death sentence for the Cleveland Browns. We would have been talking about that Monday and Tuesday in the past. We're not talking about that today because they handle business. A lot of people are. I like the national media discourse on it. They're basically saying they're not even talking about the Browns as if they won. They're talking about, Lamar let another fourth quarter lead go, and the Ravens have trouble closing out. The Ravens didn't have trouble closing out. We just took the game from them.
Yeah,
we just took the game from them. It wasn't that they did. It wasn't they had trouble closing the game out. No, if Lamar didn't throw an interception, we just would have got the ball back on after four plays. Okay, yeah, and they don't talk about the fumble on the kickoff on the punt that the Browns gifted them, or they don't talk about the kind of crazy play at the start of the game with Kyle Hamilton, like batting the ball to himself and scoring a pick six there. They never talk about that bullshit. Just every once in a while, the lucky play we get, or they don't talk about the non-hold in the end zone after that fumbled punt. They don't talk about that when there wasn't no hold on Odell Beckham, but gave the Ravens a fresh set of downs instead of having them kick a field goal. They don't talk about that shit. They just talk about the lucky things the Browns get, as if the Browns have been the luckiest team in the past 20, 30 years. Like, the Browns won the game. The Browns deserved to win that game. The Browns kicked their ass.
I don't think you guys kicked their ass.
We watched the game and we figuratively kicked their ass. And Njoku kicked their ass. Our offensive line moved the ball by themselves for 10 yards one play. We literally out-physicaled them. Whooped ass.
You guys squeaked one out.
Yeah, so we had a team called the Cardiac Kids. I wasn't around back then. That was in 1980. I don't know how much more Cardiac Kids that team can be than this. I was driving as this game was going on. I was driving to Columbus, and as that kick was happening, I was outside a gas station. My hands were literally shaking like this.
I can only imagine your dumb ass on the highway, swerving all over the place, watching your fucking phone. My God, dude. The people on the road that day were in danger because of you. My God.
No, I was listening. I wasn't watching. But I was at a gas station, so I was watching that kickoff. I mean, that field goal. But, yeah, I feel phenomenal, man. I feel this team is something else. Imagine if we had Nick Chubb.
All right, let's move along. I want to hear this presser, okay?
Okay. I'm actually going to leave for a second so you play the presser real quick.
What is happening right now? Why isn't it playing?
You guys have chairs. It's more intimidating. No injuries right now. I'm sure there'll be some tomorrow, but there's nothing right now. Go ahead.
What impressed you the most?
I mean, just how we overcame a bunch of stuff. I didn't think we played perfect ball by any means. I thought, which you never do, but I was just happy that the mistakes that we did make, we always overcame. I was real disappointed, getting those first two turnovers and not scoring on either of them, having a punt. Then when we get the third turnover, we actually score ourselves on defense, but we have to call it back. And that was strategic so we could let the offense do it. So finally we were able to do one. And then being able to get that fourth one was cool. Let's play complementary football. Took us a while, a little bit back and forth, but once I thought we were playing both well on both sides, that's when the score became what it did.
Would that penalty have not been strategic if you were on the sidelines for it?
What's that?
Would that penalty have not been strategic if you hadn't been one of the ones on the field for it?
Was I one? Yeah. No, I would have been mad at whoever did it. No, I was mad at myself, and I thought the play was over. We couldn't see, and everyone jumped up. And so when that happens, you're getting out there to start to congratulate people coming back, and they're not coming back to congratulate us. They're running back at us. So everyone got it. We know the rule, definitely. We know you can't go on the field. I personally thought the play was over. They ran right by us, and it was very unfortunate because it's a good learning experience for our team. We do show that stuff, but it was short-lived because we ended up scoring. So we can live with it, but good learning example for us.
What happened here was Ambry Thomas strips a ball away on the opposite near the end zone. And
I think we've mixed that in a little bit throughout the year.
When he went down,
I think we did it versus Pittsburgh.
He just took off running.
A couple plays.
He took off running down the sideline, and he scores the touchdown. Okay.
Pick. There in the first quarter, I think. So it's something we mix in,
and the rest of the team run onto the field.
The plan was real good today.
Congratulate him, not knowing that the play wasn't over yet. So the refs,
I thought he was great. I think Nick's been playing well all year, but for him to get
it was kind of shit.
To get the sack and stuff, cost a turnover.
It was kind of shit.
I know how much he loves playing in Florida too. So it was cool to have a big game from him today. Thought all of them played big.
Steve Wilkes on the field and
Sorry, what's that?
What was it like having Steve Wilkes on the field? And how do you think it helped?
I mean, I ran into him a couple more times. I mean, I hear his voice wherever he is. So I mean, I enjoy him down there. I'll ask the players how they thought. I'm excited to talk to Steve on the plane, see what he felt, but Again, that's nothing against you guys or anything, but just I've been coaching a long time, and I think that's one of the most overrated things in the world. So, but I enjoyed him down there.
I agree.
What was the thought process on
I think so too. I've come around.
I mean, 18 games in a row is a big record. So, I mean, if we had a chance to do that, I was going to try to do it for him. And
They were force
it's a little
feeding the ball to
nerve-wracking. Last
McCaffrey
time
at
I was
the
gonna hurt,
end,
but once we got
trying to
it was
get
big
that
time for
18
Elijah to run
touchdown
the
in a
ball like
row.
that. to
I'm
get us
so
down there.
happy that's over.
Brock and
I think that's the
Bobby
best
Meade
team.
down
That's
throw,
the
I
best
believe.
thing for this team.
Gave us a chance
That
once we
streak
got
to be
close.
broken, and
We
them to
told him to
have
stay loose
won.
because we were going to try, and
Yeah, but it was
got
fun to
close
watch
to
Trying
him
to
done
force
for
feed
him, but I
McCaffrey
think
to
that was
get
a
another
pretty
fucking
big
touchdown.
accomplishment
It's
just
dumb.
to do it for 17 games
Did
straight.
you have to explain that to
The injury
Yeah,
risk
he was
is
off.
the
He said he
only
knew.
part
Right
that
when I saw him,
bothers
I was
me
like, "Hey, I
about
hope
it.
you know why we're trying to do
No,
that."
it's
And
dumb to
he
begin
was
with.
very well aware that
If you
he
wanna
said
You
there was
score
also
something
have
score.
Darnold, the one
Yeah,
that's
that's
trying to
watching.
get the ball to him. That's not helping matters.
If you want to score, but don't try to force feed a guy a pointless touchdown just to
It's
increase
his legacy we're talking
pointless
about. What do you?
Yeah,
what
I
do you
try to make
seeing?
decisions not based off of having to
dumb
talk to you
legacy.
after the game. I try to make it on what I think's right for a
Half
team.
the time
Sometimes
you
it's
did
right,
that,
sometimes
you
it's
guys
wrong.
losing games.
But I'm not going to think about you until after the game, so then I can just deal with it.
Has Embry made strides in practice recently that give you the confidence to make that move?
That was the best game.
Yeah,
we
I mean,
had
Embry's been.
for a while,
I
and he
think
didn't even
Embry's made a
score
lot of
touchdowns.
strides going back to even training camp and stuff. But it was nothing against anyone in particular. I just wanted to see a Demo in the nickel a little bit, and Demo's got a kind of a knack for that, and it'll be fun to go watch him on the plane and stuff, see how he did. But for us to make that choice, Embry was the next man up outside.
What were your initial impressions of Chase Young's impact?
From what I saw there, it seemed like he had a big impact. I know watching him and Nick there on that same play, I mean, I'll see when I watch the tape, but just having him out there and allowing our rotation to go, and from what it looked like to me, I thought we rushed collectively the best that I had seen. I'll tell you guys tomorrow after I watched it on the plane, but just watching it live on the sidelines, it seemed collectively our group had their best game yet, and that's the goal.
The sequence at the end of the first half, beginning of the second half, I know you always strive to do that, but could you kind of feel like, could you breathe a little bit easier after that, basically a 10-point possession?
Yeah, that was our first time this year that I felt like we did it right, that we scored on the last play of the second quarter, and we started out with it in the third quarter. So, and then we got that touchdown. So that's what we try to do every week. We were successful this week. It was very nerve-wracking watching them ice our kicker than the TV network ice our kicker. I didn't know what was going on, but that third kick was a little tight too, but it worked. So glad.
Kyle, on Purdy's first touchdown pass, was that
Steve-O, just to keep up.
Yeah,
with
that was honestly one of.
what you said about the Chubb
I
injury.
can say this because he played well, but that was
think
like
he
one
just
of his
had one
worst
surgery.
decisions I think he's made
I
since
don't
he's
think
been
had
here.
the second one yet.
And it took me a while to get over it.
You're
I
saying
thanked
he's,
him
like,
for the
doing, like,
touchdown,
some, like, exercise, upper
but
body exercise.
that was not a good decision.
I'm sure
and
he's doing everything.
He was fortunate with it, but
he
he made a lot of really good plays. And if you are going to make a bad decision and it's still a touchdown,
Right now, he's talking about a pass that Purdy
in the
made.
grand scheme of things, I can see.
Was
Tell me
not
it was a
happy
real good
with Purdy.
decision, but
I wish
know
I
we
could
can't.
show it to you. If
He
I can
knows
find
that.
it, I
He knows
will.
what he did wrong, but he made him right.
It was a risky throw. But
Of course.
I wasn't mad at him for it.
Was it a converted throw?
Yes, it was a touchdown.
Well then, those
It
are
was a
something that
touchdown. He
you only
rolls
complete
out.
if it doesn't work.
He rolls out to the left. He's got Kittle almost to the corner of the end zone, right?
Mhm.
And he's actually motioning for Kittle to go further left or to the back corner of the end zone.
Okay.
Instead, Kittle moves in towards the middle of the end zone, closer to Ayuk. We're now drawing in probably two defenders at this point.
Okay.
So it's a bit congested in the back of the end zone, just about at the. I'd say we're right there at the crossbar of the goalpost. So
Okay.
Purdy lets it go. Ayuk makes this move, kind of pushes dude, draws back, and he makes the catch. It was a great catch. It was a great throw. It was a great catch. But a lot of folks aren't pleased with it because it was very congested. And Shanahan wasn't happy with it either.
Like I said, those are plays that when they succeed, you're happy with. When
Oh,
when they don't succeed, then you can bitch.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, those are kind of the ones you shrug your shoulder at, and you're like, okay, it is what it is.
Look, Nick, we're trying to get this kid to protect the ball in the red zone. That's it. That's first and foremost.
So what's your overall?
The throw that he made was a very risky throw. I just thought it was clean.
So what's your overall feeling after the game? I didn't get to watch the game. I didn't even get to watch highlights. I've been super busy the last couple of days.
Look, man, I think that there was a special moment in the game where Chase Young and Bosa grab Trevor and they take him down.
Okay.
And it was probably the most, I don't know. I got emotional.
You got emotional over that?
I got emotional. I'm wearing the Chase Young jersey. I got emotional. I really did. It was special.
I got emotional over that.
Two former Buckeyes.
I'm an Ohio State fan, but I'm not going to get emotional over two Ohio State players taking a sack.
If they were both, you know what? You would be sitting there with a towel under your chin if they were Browns players.
I'd be happy over the play. I wouldn't start crying like a little girl.
Oh, I was fucking thrilled. It made me emotional. I was happy. I was as happy as you could be, bro. That being said, you know, will he be able to sign him? Will they keep this going? That's kind of where I'm at.
So
where am I at? How do I feel, bro? I mean, we came out of the bye and we dominated.
Is it relief?
Yes. It is.
Is it? Do you feel like everything is corrected?
For now.
Okay. That's actually a good way to look at it.
For now. I'm pleased with how Wilkes called this game. I think him being on the sideline, as though you may see it as overrated, I truly believe it's probably for the best.
I don't think it really matters. I think if Wilkes feels more comfortable in the booth, he should be in the booth. That being said, here's my general overall outlook on the 49ers win over the Jags. The 49ers are a good team. No one has ever said they were shit. Actually, no one has ever said they were shit other than 49ers.
A lot of people doubt Brock Purdy. They're not
that's what I'm saying.
Sold on it.
That's what I'm saying.
Sold on it.
That's what I'm saying. The only people that have been saying the 49ers are shitty are other 49ers fans. The 49ers are a good team. They should have, when it's all said and done, they should have one of the top 5 defenses in the league. Okay? They should. They've been there for a while. They have so much talent on that defense that there is no reason. I'm not a fan of Steve Wilkes. I'm still not a fan of Steve Wilkes after this. Joe Woods had good games for Cleveland. Joe Woods coached good games for Cleveland last year. In that horrible year when they had the worst run defense in the history of football. And they still had good games. Against Cincinnati was a good game. You know? But I'm still not a fan of his. That being said, there's too much talent for him to really screw it up that much. Okay. I would still be happier for you guys with a guy like D'Amico, with a guy like Saleh that is really hyper focused on that defensive line and making them play better. But they're still going to win games. They're still among the better teams in this league. They're still definitely a playoff team. They're still probably a NFC contender for those top 2 spots. They're definitely probably. I don't see the Seahawks being better than them when the year's over. I don't see the Seahawks.
They play us well. We play them in Seattle on Thanksgiving.
If the Browns can almost beat the Seattle Seahawks in their house with our backup quarterback, then I have really good faith that the 49ers can do so as well with their starting quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, you hope.
So, but so I'm giving you a bunch of positive stuff there. Why I liked your answer was because I also don't want you guys to think, and there's a lot of talk about it. I've been listening to a lot of power rankings. A lot of people have the power rankings, the 49ers at 4. I think that's a little crazy right now. When it's been 1 week, and that's what they were saying about the Bengals. They were like, "Oh, the Bengals are back, baby. They're top 5 team." No, they just got beat by the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud, a rookie quarterback, a good one, but still a rookie. Okay, a rookie head coach, a good one, but still a rookie.
But San Francisco has put this. This isn't nothing new. So if San Francisco's at 4, it's deservingly so.
I think there's other teams that we should put there.
Where? Who?
I mean,
who at 4?
You don't have them like right off the rip of my head.
Who at 4?
Well, I think you'd probably have at this point have to put the Eagles above them in the NFC.
Why? Where are they? Where are they ranked on that? Where are they ranked on that?
Well, they're probably ranked. I mean, the Eagles and the Chiefs
are the top 3 teams.
The Eagles, Chiefs are in everyone's top. Those are the top 2 teams. That's who everyone's saying. Not necessarily mine, but that's who everyone's saying. Some teams have the Cowboys in, which I think it's arguable. I think it's arguable that you put the Cowboys ahead of the 49ers. Maybe not much, but it's arguable that you do that. I think the Browns should be up there. I think there's no reason why the Browns are as low as they are when you look at what they've been doing. I think
coming out of the AFC, the Browns are not they're not a hot commodity. Coming out of the AFC, you've got Kansas City, Miami, the Bengals.
I mean, even as we speak right now, John.
Who else?
The Browns are
Kansas City, Miami, the Bengals.
The Browns are Baltimore. The Browns are essentially they're tied for second place in the AFC. Right now, the Browns are essentially tied for second place in the AFC. I mean, the Steelers have a tiebreaker on them.
That's what I'm saying.
But they haven't played
Stop putting the buggy before the horse. You got to play Pittsburgh.
Baltimore's still ahead of them by a half a game. So they're essentially tied for third place in the AFC.
Right. Got to beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. Listen, I give credit to Pittsburgh for what they've done. They've won 6 games. I don't know how the hell they've done it. With the exception of the fallback thing that Tomlin's just a freaking amazing coach.
I mean, you have Myles Garrett. You have TJ Watt.
But TJ Watt's not Myles Garrett. TJ Watt's not.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's still powerful and he still makes a fucking difference.
But the rest of their defense isn't even that good.
There is no other Myles Garrett in football.
Aren't as good as
but there are guys that are below that are still going to make noise, bro.
And their offense
TJ Watt happens to be one of those guys. They got a good run game. They're running the ball.
Like the Browns are better in every aspect of football on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like they just are.
Not in coaching.
Even in the game that the Steelers beat them, the Browns were the much better team.
Not in coaching.
They outgained them by like 2 by they doubled them in yardage. I mean, Pickett was terrible. Pickett was terrible that game. And he hasn't gotten much better. He still sucks. He's just doing enough.
He's doing just enough.
Yeah.
That's really all he has to do.
But yeah, I mean, like there's an argument to be said that Miami should be above the 49ers right now. There's an argument. A lot of people are still putting Baltimore above them. Kansas, we already said Kansas City. Yeah, there should be. I think the 49ers should be probably around anywhere from 5 to 8 in the power rankings. But a lot of them are jumping the gun. They were down on them. They had them like 9th, and all of a sudden they jump them 5 spots to
I mean, they beat a good Jags team that was coming off of a 5-game win streak.
I think it's a little overestimated.
Trevor Lawrence was getting rid of the ball in like 2.4 seconds, 2.3 seconds, something stupid. They were within the top 3. We stopped the run. which was a fucking blessing.
I think it's a little overestimated how good the Jags are.
Their run defense was up there, dude. Top 4, top 5.
They beat. Let's take a look at the Jags' victories so far. They beat the Colts. Let's go from the start. So they beat the Colts. They didn't kill them. Colts still scored 21 points on them. They just scored 31. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Texans. They beat the Falcons. Not hard to do. They beat the Bills. I got news for you. That's not hard to do right now. They beat the Colts again, kind of in similar fashion to how they beat them the first time. It was almost the same exact score. They beat the Saints, not necessarily a great team. And they got beat by you guys. Okay. I don't think the Jaguars are. I think the Jaguars, if I had a pretender or serious candidate, I honestly would have the Jags as a pretender right now, and I would have had them as a serious candidate at the start of the season. They're kind of underwhelming to me. I think Trevor Lawrence is not proven. I thought he was definitely going to be among the top 5 quarterbacks this year, and I don't think he's in the top 10 right now. They rely more on their running game.
I don't think you're giving Jacksonville enough credit.
I don't think they're a bad team. You kicked their ass, John. It's a good victory nonetheless. You played them at their house too. So I'm not trying to take away.
We beat the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys too, bro.
Yeah.
Similar fashion.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
What do you think about the Lions' strength of schedule?
Oh, the Lions could be up there too. Listen, here's my
Lions right now. The Lions right now, they have a cupcake schedule.
Here's my adage. Anytime you're in the NFC, you're going to have somewhat of a cupcake schedule. Why? Because the NFC is terrible and the AFC is extremely good. I'll give you these statistics, okay? So I'm going to go with teams in the conference that are 6 wins or over, and then I'm going to go teams that I would consider that a really good team. And then I'm going to take teams that are 4 wins or under. I would consider those bad teams. In the AFC, you got 1 Miami, 2 Baltimore, 3 Pittsburgh, 4 Cleveland, 5 Jacksonville, 6 Kansas City. In the NFC, you have 1 Philly, 2 Dallas, 3 Detroit, 4 and 5 San Francisco and Seattle. So there's one more team that has that 6-win mark in the AFC. Here's where it gets really interesting in the teams with 4 wins or less. So with 4 wins or less, you have 1 New York Jets, 2 New England Patriots, 3 Tennessee Titans, 4 Chargers, 5 Broncos, and that's it. You have 5 teams with 4 wins or less. Here's in the NFC. It's literally like 9. There's Washington 1, Giants 2, Green Bay 3, Chicago 4, Tampa 5, Atlanta 6, Carolina 7, Rams 8, and Arizona Cardinals 9. So you have 9 teams with less than 4 wins in that conference. You're going to kick the shit out of those guys.
Yeah.
Every good team in that conference is going to kick the shit out of those guys. So, I mean, of course you're going to have an easy schedule if you're in the NFC. Because the NFC is not good. It's a very top-heavy conference. There's literally 5 teams in that conference that are worth a damn. Everyone else kind of sucks.
Well, I'll take it the way it is.
Yeah, you would like that. You would want that. You don't want to be in the battle dome. You don't want to be in the battle dome of the AFC North.
No.
The AFC North, the Cincinnati's the worst team. They're 5-4.
How about that?
You know, they're capable of beating anyone at any time. Yeah. I guarantee you, they play the Chiefs right now. They're going to give them a run. So that conference, that division, that conference in general is freaking crazy.
It really is. It's probably the most interesting too, to be honest.
I mean, because it just matters win by win, especially in this period of time. Like these last couple weeks, and it even goes to next week. I mean, it just really everything is going to be determined pretty much in those weeks.
Down to, we discussed this earlier, down to potentially common opponent.
Yeah, I mean, we play Pittsburgh next week, and the Ravens play Baltimore next week. Those, I mean, however those games shape out, they could really be drastic changes. If Cincinnati wins, they're back in the thick of it. You know, if they lose, they could be potentially out of the playoffs.
They have a 5-4 record. What's up,
Mhm.
Coach? I see you down there, bro. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Yep.
Listen, at 5-4, and that's the worst team in the division.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The Browns and the Steelers are 6-3, and
The
the
Browns
Ravens are
and the
7-3.
Bengals both beat San Francisco.
Yep. Be thankful you're not in the AFC North.
No, I'm just saying if it comes down to common opponent for whatever reason, I don't know why it would. I don't know why it would, but if it did,
I mean, Seattle
Bengals,
would have the heads up on you if it did come down for that reason.
why? Because
Because Seattle beat us.
yeah.
Seattle beat us, and
I don't know how you fucking lost that game.
well, because it was a game that we should have won. It was a bad risk play by Stefanski. We run that ball no matter if we convert or if we don't convert. We have a pretty good chance of winning that. If we convert, we win. But I mean, if we don't convert, we still have a pretty good chance of winning that game.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, with Stefanski, it's kind of love or hate because I really do believe that he's done an incredible job this year. I mean,
I'm not going to say incredible, Nick. You're giving him too much.
John, look at what he's had. Look at what this team's had to go through. And this is kind of what I wanted to talk about last.
What? You had to use your backup quarterback? I'm not going to give you any sympathy for that.
John, the myriad of injuries we had. Nick Chubb.
I'm not giving you fucking sympathy for that either.
Don't give us sympathy. We don't want it. We don't need
stop
it.
using it as a fucking excuse.
I'm just saying, look, injuries have been used as excuses for a long time for anything. But I'm not looking for any sympathy. We're 6-3. We're good. But look at what he's had to overcome. This is not a sympathy thing. I'm just saying, look at what he's had to overcome. Nick Chubb, your best offensive player, lost for the season. Jack Conklin, the first game of the season, your starting right tackle, gone.
Conklin's always injured.
Deshaun Watson, injured for numerous weeks with a shoulder injury. Okay? You've had to go numerous weeks with your backup quarterback. Honestly, he wasn't even the backup. You had to get him off the street because the backup wasn't quite ready. Okay? So you got Phillip Walker, PJ Walker off the street. You managed to go 2-1. Yeah, you managed to go 2-1 with PJ Walker as the starting quarterback. Then you go into Baltimore in their house. You're down all those guys, but you're also down DeJuan Jones, the guy who replaced Conklin, and Jedrick Wills, your starting left tackle, the guy who blocks for Deshaun Watson, protects his blind side. You go with a guy named Jerrion Christian. I don't know even who the hell that guy is, but he made it work. And he's made this offense work week in, week out. They've had one bad game that they really should have lost, and that was against the Baltimore Ravens the first time. And that was, honestly, it was reasonable why they lost that game because DTR didn't even know he was going in till like 15 minutes before the game. Because Deshaun Watson's like, I can't lift my arm. I don't know what happened.
To do that. He decided that game time.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson's like, I can't throw the ball past 10 yards. I don't know what to do. Like I can't go out. I thought I was going to be good, but I'm not. So DTR just goes in cold. That was the only game that they really deserved to lose. They should have beat the Steelers. They should have beat the Seahawks. We could be talking about literally if literally not anything crazy happens, they just protect the ball a little better. Literally, we could be talking about an 8-1 Browns team. Which is kind of what I want to touch on. Culture. I've heard a lot about culture.
I don't want to hear this.
I've heard a lot about culture.
I don't agree with you.
I've heard a lot about culture. Everyone says the culture in Cleveland is bad. It's been bad for decades. It's going to take decades. It's going to take decades to improve. I agree with you. It has been bad. But what I won't agree with is that it takes decades to erase decades of bad culture. I think bad culture is how good your team is. How many veterans are accountable?
You could have.
The Browns have a great culture right now.
Yes,
the Browns have a fantastic culture right now.
That's it. That's all you can say is that they have that it's trending in the right direction. Don't tell me that it's established. You have not established a winning culture in Cleveland.
What is
having
culture?
A good season?
What is culture really?
The very fucking foundation of what your team stands for.
But what is culture though? Like what?
Winning.
How does culture
Super Bowls? NFC championships. That's it.
How does culture benefit you though? I mean,
I don't know. Coaching prospects that want to win, players who want to go to teams that want to win. What are you talking about, bro?
The Browns have been able to get players. They got Dalvin Tomlinson.
And you've been able to lose, and then you've moved off those players.
They've got Dalvin Tomlinson. They got Juan Thornhill this season. They got Obo Okoronkwo. All these guys are good players. Zadarius Smith, Shelby Harris.
Hold on. Let me take you back. You guys were drafting for the last 2 decades at the top of the draft, developing talent and moving it around the league afterwards. Not bettering yourselves for anything. You guys weren't.
I don't think we were developing talent on the Browns.
You were literally just a farm team for talent. You take first-round picks, develop them for a year or 2, and then move them off. That's it. You did that for 2 fucking decades.
We were also bad at drafting too.
Bad at everything. So you ask, what is culture? 1, foundation. What is that foundation built off of?
What does that foundation mean?
Winning Super Bowl.
Winning Super Bowls. I would say the 49ers have a very good culture. They haven't won a Super Bowl since the mid-90s.
Doesn't matter. They win.
Okay.
They win.
So it's winning.
Sure it is.
Sure, the Browns are winning.
I don't want to hear anybody in Cleveland say we have established a culture here in Cleveland. Right now, the culture is trending in the right direction. You're having a good season. You guys haven't strung together winning seasons. So the culture in Cleveland is still trending in the right direction.
I think we have a culture. The reason I say the culture is great in Cleveland is not necessarily just because we're winning. It's the way we're winning. We're not breaking down. We're not succumbing.
Myles Garrett should probably get the credit for establishing culture. If you want to base it off of performance, then we can say defensively, the identity of the Cleveland Browns is establishing culture.
I mean, I think Myles Garrett has a part in it. But what I'm saying is
fucking single-handedly has a part in
it. I'm saying
no, I'll give Schwartz. We'll bring Schwartz into that.
Yeah. Schwartz is definitely a person who brings culture in. Didn't take a decade to do it. He brought it in in less than half a season.
Right. He took what most football fans, including myself, for the last 4 years have noticed on paper a very talented defense, yet nobody could get it rolling. Nobody could establish culture in Cleveland. Okay, we can say that Jim Schwartz has come in and he's established some form of culture. But you still got to win in spite of that. You got to keep doing it. Stacking wins, stacking postseason appearances, and moving further and further into the playoffs. Now you've established a culture if you meet that criteria.
Sure. I think the Browns have done it this year.
Nick, they're trending in the right direction.
teams get
You got to stack.
get
You got to
shitty real
stack
quick.
seasons. You got to stack seasons. If you guys make it to the second round of the playoffs this year and you lose, that's good. You've established culture. Now next year, you win 10 games, right? Postseason. Yep. Now you're trending towards the AFC Championship game, but you're not quite there yet, right?
I mean, I think the Browns can win the Super Bowl.
We're stacking seasons here.
I mean, I think the Browns can win the Super Bowl this year. All I'm saying is that for what the Browns had,
bro, when you say that, I mean, listen.
For what the Browns had to go through, and them having this never say die attitude, that to me is culture. That to me is we're gonna win no matter what.
You're misconstruing because you're on a high, because winning fucking cures a lot. But
it does. Cures a great amount.
It's not curing your delusional thoughts at the moment. I mean, listen. As a Cleveland Brown fan, this is a phenomenal feeling. You guys are doing great. And I'm happy for you. Happy for you. I'm married to a Browns fan. Nothing makes me happier than when we share Victory Mondays together, right?
Allison's a good girl.
But in part, you're delusional if you think you're going to win a Super Bowl.
John, I don't know why you think we can't win a Super Bowl.
Because I just think that you're.
Look, I mean, so you would probably agree
listen. Dude, if you somehow manage to win the AFC this year,
I'm not saying we're going to. It's going to be hard to win the Super Bowl. It's always hard for any team to win the Super Bowl.
If you don't have Conklin, if you don't have all of your starters healthy, trying to make a strong playoff push, and I mean an AFC Championship push, you need all your bodies, and they need to be healthy, or at least 90%.
I mean, we're never going to be healthy because we have two of our main players injured for the year.
Oh, Conklin's done for the year?
Yeah, he's been done for the year since the first game.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that Conklin was done for the first.
Yeah.
I knew that he got hurt in the first game, but I did not know it was season ending.
Oh, season ending. Yeah.
What was
That's
it?
the type of luck we've had. I want to say it was an Achilles.
NorCal Bill, I see you, bro. Bang, bang, man.
What's going on, NorCal Bill? But yeah, so I don't understand why you say we can't. Here's the thing. I'm sure you'd probably agree with me. Is Kansas City Chiefs' biggest obstacle in our way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Have the Kansas City Chiefs offense really been dynamic this year?
Don't have to be.
Why not?
Don't have to be. Don't have to be.
Let's take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs and how they've been.
Dude, the skipper and Mahomes on that ship, like, bro, he protects the football. Well,
so they got their ass whooped by the Broncos last week. They beat the Dolphins this week. I think the Dolphins are slightly overrated. I think the Dolphins are a good team, but I think when people are talking about them being like that 70-point game really fucking put a lot of ideas in people's heads. They just barely beat the Vikings. They just barely beat the Jets. Sure, they kicked the shit out of the Bears, but everyone does. They just barely beat the Jags. They lost to the Lions, and they beat the Chargers, but then everyone does. I'm not a big Chargers fan.
I am a Chargers fan. I like them. I mean, not a fan. I like them. I do. I like them. I just think that what's his name is not the answer.
Herbert once again played.
No. What's his name? Coach. What the hell's his name?
Staley.
Yes.
Herbert once again just played good enough to get beat by a little. Once again.
Staley sucks. He sucks so bad. So bad.
But yeah, the Chiefs have not. I mean, their defense has looked really good, but their offense hasn't looked.
Patrick Mahomes finds a way to elevate the receivers. They don't have to have.
No, he hasn't. The receivers suck this year. Travis Kelce's doing really good. That's kind of how they were last year. The receivers are not doing well. Rashee Rice has had flashes, but the Chiefs have not looked dynamic offensively this year. Their defense is kind of their story. Like, their defense is being talked, and I think it's ridiculous that it's even being talked up as, considering the fact that the historic defenses these two teams have had, but it's being talked up as like up there with the Browns and the Ravens. The Ravens, everyone's talking the Chiefs is like that third grade defense in the league.
They are a third grade defense.
Yeah, but they're not even close to the Browns and the Ravens. The Browns have ridiculous statistics, but the Ravens also have ridiculous statistics. Do you know the Ravens they've been trailing by the lowest amount of time. It's by time. It's like literally, first of all, I think it's ever. And it's like by a gigantic margin. Like the Ravens have actually been trailing games in this season. It's like 15 minutes. They've been trailing for like 15 minutes a season. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. If you think about it, the Browns beat them. The Ravens were never trailing until the time clocks hit 0 in the fourth quarter.
That is true.
They were never trailing.
I mean,
that's a ridiculous statistic.
I tried, Nick. The Chiefs.
What I'm saying is the Chiefs have not faced a defense like the Browns. The Chiefs have not faced a defense like the Browns. That's all I'll say.
I don't think that anybody's wrong putting the Kansas City defense in the AFC third. No, I think they're a solid third. I think they hold the third spot convincingly.
No, he didn't. We took that game.
Kansas City has a good defense.
I'm not saying that they don't have a good defense. What I'm saying is that Kansas City hasn't faced a defense like ours. And for that matter, they haven't faced a defense like the Ravens. The two teams in the AFC North that have those dynamic defenses, they haven't faced.
They faced a defense like ours last season and put up 40.
Yeah. This is a different season, though. The Chiefs' offense was humming last year.
Yet it was not. Yet the receiving core was nothing to really brag about, bro, because they were just subpar.
No, but Travis Kelce had a ridiculous season.
Travis Kelce had a ridiculous season, and Mahomes found a way to elevate those subpar receivers, and they did so convincingly with a good defense and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So, what's stopping them from doing it again?
Nothing. I think they're going to be the main contender. But I think the Browns can beat them. Oh, Izzy, we're going to fuck the Steelers up next week. We're going to fuck them up in our house.
I mean, there's a good chance that
going to get beat.
You realize there's a good chance that doesn't happen.
Oh no, it's an almost definite. The Browns are looking for blood. The Browns are looking for blood. You're not coming into our house, and the Steelers haven't had much success coming into our house as of late. We're not dropping the game to the Steelers. So, I think very well the Browns will win the Super Bowl. I think very well that has to do with culture, and I think the Browns have changed the culture in less than a year. And I will just leave it at that.
Culture. You love that word now.
Culture. Browns culture, baby.
There's
never give up. Keep fighting till the whistle till you hear that.
The culture was
hit 0.
The culture in Cleveland, to call it culture because you've won 6 games. You know how many games you lost?
Oh, and
culture
Deshaun's
was
back,
a losing culture. A losing culture for a long, long, long time, Nick.
Do you remember when people were saying, like a few short weeks ago, that the Deshaun Watson trade was the worst trade in the history of football? Do you remember hearing that? It's not even close. It was a
it's
steal of a trade.
financially, it was never really about the performance. Nobody was really ever sure what he was going to be. He hadn't been playing ball for 2 years, and you guys gave him $230 million fully guaranteed.
Slowly but surely, all that rust is starting to show a bright silver,
I don't
gleaming precious metal.
I don't think so. I still think it was one of the worst trades. Not the
Deshaun
worst
Watson
trade.
6-1 as a starter this year.
Really?
Yeah.
And did he put the team on his back for any of that?
Yeah, a couple.
Because a lot of that came with the defense.
I mean, he put his back up last week.
Okay, I'll give you that. He made some.
He had a great game against the Cardinals. It's not his fault that the Cardinals offense didn't score to make it a game. He had a great game against the Titans, and he had a pretty darn good game against the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's really hard for me to give Deshaun Watson any credit this season because he hasn't done much to contribute to the victories.
Listen,
he really has been absent. Been absent for quite some time.
The national debate on Deshaun Watson was absolutely ridiculous.
Nick,
and
most people, Nick, you're missing the point. It was the contract. It was always about the contract.
The contract is so stupid to argue about, though. I mean, I can't go through this anymore.
Why?
Lamar Jackson makes more money.
You think he's played up to it?
I've always said this. I mean, he's 6-1 as a starter.
Don't be so much of a fucking homer that you can't even fucking spite your face.
Has he played up to it, or has Lamar Jackson played up to it? Because Lamar Jackson gets paid more money. Lamar Jackson's contract is much greater.
Lamar Jackson is 100% deserving of it.
Why? Why is he deserving of it?
Stacked seasons.
Because Deshaun Watson
seasons.
Deshaun Watson stacked seasons.
No,
he's had good seasons in the past too. Just because he hasn't had one,
not
for
as a Cleveland Brown, not as a Cleveland Brown to earn $230 million.
This is his first season with the Browns.
Nick, what fucking quarterback do you know would get $230 million 2 years removed from the league? There's not a fucking football team other than the Cleveland Browns that would make that move.
I think right now, honestly, if Tom Brady wanted to come back in the league, I don't think he'd get that long of a contract, but he'd probably get like 2 years at that money guaranteed.
No.
Yeah, I think so. No. I think a team would pay him that. They'd probably pay him like $100 million with $100 million guaranteed. They'd probably give him like
there's no fucking way anybody's making that move. Not even for Tom Brady.
Sure. I think definitely would.
No.
I think absolutely they would.
No. It's bad business. I'm telling you that no one's giving him $100 million fully guaranteed and $100 million for 2 years. That's fucking clown shit. Especially after the way he went out last season. He looked like dog water. No.
I mean, he didn't look that bad, John. I mean, the Bucs weren't that great of a team at that point in time. I mean, Tom Brady's not that far removed from winning a Super Bowl.
Listen to me and listen to me very clear. No other team in football is paying that motherfucker $230 million fully guaranteed. And I'm not even talking about the off the field controversial bullshit that he had going on in his life. I'm talking about just simply being removed for 2 years and not playing the game. And nobody's paying him that kind of money.
And here's the thing.
It's such a fucking clown.
Not like
he's in his
bro. It's not like he's in his mid-30s, John.
I don't care.
He was 26 years old at the time of that contract. Like, he's very young for a quarterback. Like, this is a quarterback that you can literally have multiple contracts with. Deshaun Watson.
I mean,
yes, they would pay him.
Provided he leads this team to the postseason, stacks some wins. You know, you could pay him in a year. You could have paid him 2 seasons.
You wouldn't have got him, John. Other teams were going to pay him money. Maybe not as much as the Browns, but
never
right
that
there.
much. Never that much.
John, he was going to get over $200 million.
No, Nick.
He was going to get over $200 million.
Nick, no quarterback has gotten a fully guaranteed contract since. None.
John, Lamar got almost essentially a fully guaranteed contract.
But Lamar has stacked.
And second of all,
Lamar
Joe
has stacked
Burrow-
wins,
and Joe
stacked
Burrow
seasons.
has
He's
essentially
earned
got
that contract.
Joe Burrow has essentially got a guaranteed contract.
He
Okay,
earned it.
whether or not every single
Not to
dollar
mention,
is
he made a
guaranteed,
Super Bowl appearance.
they're going to give him that money. He's going to get every bit of that. Just the same as Lamar did. I mean, just the same as Deshaun's going to get. They're going to get every bit of that money. And I got news for you. Even if they need to do something to the contract in Deshaun's last year to keep some players, they'll probably re-sign Deshaun and they'll probably get a new contract in. Whether or not that has a guaranteed, I really don't care. That's for the owner to decide. It really doesn't bother me whether or not his money's guaranteed or not.
Steve says, I
That's
have
up
him
to-
on
that's up to
fantasy,
the owner and Deshaun.
but I'm starting Kyler. Do you see that?
It's probably a better start fantasy wise because I got news for you. Deshaun's not going to put up crazy fantasy numbers this year.
Then he's
because
not worth
the Browns have an
$230 million.
identity. What you paid Deshaun to do is to do what he did last week. When you need to drive down that field and you need to score, this is something we weren't able to do with Baker Mayfield. We weren't able to drive down the field and score and win a tough game against an opponent that is great. He never did it. The only time I ever saw him do it was against the freaking Bengals. And that's when they weren't good. That's before they had Joe Burrow or before they got good with Joe Burrow. But Deshaun,
Tell me, Melissa,
do
tell
that.
me. You're never gonna get it through your head, bro. You keep comparing Lamar to
the
Deshaun
worst
Watson.
contract in football history. The worst
the
contract
worst.
in football
It's the
worst
worst.
trade in football history.
The worst.
It's not the worst. It's not even close to the worst.
Okay.
There are guys that have gotten traded for a lot that have done absolutely nothing for teams. Deshaun Watson got you 6 wins as a starter and only lost you 1. Now, I get you. It might not have all been him because the defense is very good. And I even told you before the season, Deshaun's not going to be the catalyst to how great this team does. It's always going to be the defense. But you can't argue that Deshaun hasn't had a part in it because I just told you Deshaun had a part in a lot of those wins.
Some of
They
those
might not have
parts-
beaten.
Do you know how ugly and sloppy he's played in those 6 wins? Ugly.
He hasn't played that bad.
Ugly.
Jimmy. He's had
Ugly.
3 bad quarters of football.
Ugly.
He's had 3 bad quarters of football.
I'm telling you, to me, to me, he's got a lot to prove, bro. A lot to prove. A lot.
You get paid that much money.
Miles Garrett should be making more money than he's making. If that motherfucker can make 230,
Miles Garrett
fully
at the time
guaranteed.
Miles Garrett at the time of his contract was the highest paid defensive end in the league. And you know what? When his contract comes up again, he's going to be the highest paid defensive end in the league. That's what's going to happen. Every year, somebody passes you as the highest paid player.
Yeah, but they're deserving. They're deserving of it.
I mean,
And I don't think Deshaun Watson deserved it. And I'll always believe that. We could be on here fucking arguing about it till the sun
I
comes up.
don't know how Lamar
Point
is
is,
so much more.
I'm never gonna give Deshaun Watson credit for the contract that he received.
I mean,
He
I
did
don't
not
know how
deserve it.
Lamar is so much more deserving of it than Deshaun Watson.
Because Lamar was an MVP of the league.
Okay, Deshaun Watson
Lamar
should
had
have been an MVP
stacked
of the league one
seasons,
year.
dude. Stacked seasons. I don't understand what you don't
Stacked seasons
understand.
what? Stacked seasons what? What did he stack?
Wins.
Last year, he didn't even get in the playoffs. Tyler Huntley got you in the playoffs. Okay?
Wins.
Has he ever won a playoff game? I don't know if he ever has. Maybe one. Like, what does he stack together that's so great?
Baltimore, as far as I'm concerned, Baltimore now has. He's
I'm not saying
deserving of his
Deshaun.
contract.
I'm not saying he's crap. I'm not saying Lamar's crap. I think I've always said Lamar gets you a very high floor, just not really high the ceiling.
There you go. Is that current Steve-O? 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in 6 games.
One of those interceptions was the Colts game. So it's actually 7-3. if you want to put the Colts game as a win, we can count that too, because he did start that game.
Izzy says, I want to know as a Buckeye fan, last week versus the Jaguars or this upcoming game versus Baker, which do you think will be the most dominant young Bosa game? I would say probably since they're slowly adding Chase Young in, Izzy, I would probably say by the Buccaneers game, it'll be the most dominant. I think we'll see. I think you'll see Chase Young a little bit more comfortable yet, so on and so forth. I think you're going to see him settling into this defense slowly but surely. It's only trending up right now, Izzy. I would say, in my personal opinion,
I would actually say they'd be more dominant during the Jaguars game because the better bet because they were dominant during the Jaguars game.
Yeah, but there's this
like you don't know what's going to happen. Like Baker could come out.
Bosa has this hatred for Baker. It goes back.
Yeah.
So I think Baker actually, what's the word? I think Baker is, he's not legitimately taunting them, but I think the Baker Mayfield is like I don't know.
Yeah, Baker planted the flag in midfield.
I think you feed off.
It. But I'm saying like the better bet would be the game that just happened where you guys were dominant, where you guys scored 30 some to their 3.
Yeah, I would say Izzy.
Theoretically, Buccaneers could come out and actually, Baker's not. I've always said this about Baker. I don't like the guy necessarily. I don't really give a shit about him too much anymore, but I don't necessarily like him because I think he's cocky. Although I do hope that cockiness does leave him at some point in time.
Sin, how you doing, Sin? Good to see you, fam.
But Baker has talent, and he can put up points against you if you take him lightly. He's done it in the past. I know. I've seen it.
Let's be clear, Nick. Let's be clear.
And they're not a shit team. They have
Baker's not getting the ball. Baker's not letting go of that football faster than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is leading the league in quickest release. Period. That's it. Out of any quarterback, Trevor Lawrence leads that.
I mean,
okay.
I haven't.
Do you understand?
I haven't looked up quickest releases in the league, so I don't know.
I take my word for it. That's legit.
I can tell you one thing about Baker, though. I can tell you one thing he's going to do that is kind of – this will be a good test for you guys, actually. He's going to test your secondary. What's that?
He's going to roll out?
No, he's going to test your secondary.
Nick, I honestly don't think that Baker throws a touchdown.
Baker's not a guy who's not going to put the ball in harm's way.
I don't think that Baker throws a touchdown.
He's going to test Lenore. He's going to test Charvarius Ward. He's going to test whoever the hell you guys have out there as your nickelback. He's going to test Hufanga. He's going to test whoever the hell you guys have as your
what's up, Laney? You're not late. Better late than never.
He's going to test those guys. Whether or not they can stand up to the test is another thing. And honestly, I haven't even paid attention to the Buccaneers. Is Mike Evans healthy? Are their receiving core healthy?
Yep. Baker's not going to throw a touchdown.
I mean, there's a chance that might not happen. There's also a chance
I think we put a 40 burger up on them.
You might, because I don't think their defense is necessarily anything spectacular. And here's another thing with the 49ers. I've said it, and I'll say it again. Their offense is how good their defense is. How good their defense is able to play, that's how good their offense is. So once again, you guys gave up 3 points on defense. Your offense put up 30.
Izzy said, keep Diamador Lenore's name out of your motherfucking pile.
Diamador Lenore is an average at best. Diamador Lenore is an average at best cornerback. He is what he is.
Lenore?
But they have the same trajectory. Well, actually, no.
Still shuffling. We're still shuffling that secondary. The secondary right now is suspect.
Offense, defense. However the defense plays, the offense goes. Inverse relationship.
I mean, Izzy wants to smack you into 2030, and frankly, I can't wait to see what you and the Browns look like in 2030. So, frankly, I hope she takes you and the Browns with you.
Diamador Lenore is he's okay. He's not great. He's nothing great.
Diamador Lenore right now is struggling to tackle, much like Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. We're not tackling. We are as a team not tackling well. That's a fact. But I'm not going to sit here and parade with you around the Lenore conversation. We're shuffling that secondary right now. We've fundamentally figured out Oliver's not good. We have figured out that Oliver is just not. I actually wanted Oliver just move to safety. He can actually tackle. Oliver can actually tackle. I would not be opposed if he was depth at the safety position. No problem with him there. No problem with moving him to safety at all. We did, Laney, or at least I did. Nick did it because Nick sucks.
I did. I was not aware. I was not aware that you had a YouTube debut.
Yeah, she was live on the Kingdom Live podcast.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go back, check it out, smash that like button.
Should have smashed that like button anyway, lady. Melanie sucks. I actually don't have Baker Mayfield throwing a touchdown pass next week or this week.
I mean, Baker's very unpredictable because he's one of those guys that can either be really hot or really cold. And you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, the only thing is that I think it can be slight. Listen, if you're asking me who I think is going to win that game, I think the 49ers are going to win. If I had to bet money on it, I would bet money on the 49ers.
Yes, but you want to see this defensive front? You want to see them gobble up the teams that they should, fucking swallow them whole. And if that means that you sack Baker 3 times in one game, fantastic. If
but
you're
probably going to sack him a bunch of times because that's just how Baker plays.
Well, no,
what I'm saying is
he should.
There might be times this could possibly happen where your secondary gets burnt. Or you could have a Charvarius Ward special.
Why would my secondary get burnt if the front 4 are getting pressure?
Because you may get pressure 60% of the time.
No,
but there might
just told you Trevor's getting rid of the ball faster than any quarterback in football.
Yeah, I mean,
Baker's not on that trajectory. Baker's not even
matter to me. It doesn't necessarily matter to me though. I mean, he might have had a bad game. B, the 49ers might have had a good game plan for it. C, that might not even be necessarily the best case scenario.
Thanks for joining us. Tell us how you found us. I'm not sure that I recognize you. Tell us how you found us, and clearly a Browns fan, bro.
You know what they say. You know what they say. MP defense wins championships, and the Browns have a fantastic defense.
Well, so defenses win championships because they get the ball and give it to their offense. Good quarterbacks, good field position.
Yeah, we do.
John Watson, not sold.
I say you should be sold. But like I said, I think.
Who do you play Sunday? Who do you play Sunday?
Play the Steelers.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That's right.
I think the 49ers are going to win that game. I'm just saying there's a chance. Don't be surprised if it happens.
Who do you play the following week?
Following week. Let me take a look. I'm just saying don't be surprised if it happens that way because it can. I've seen it before. We play the Broncos. We have a fairly easy schedule from here on out. We have the Steelers.
Broncos. Don't count the Broncos as a victory yet.
I'm not counting any team as a victory because any team can win on any given Sunday. But I'm just saying when you're looking at the schedule, you're kind of like, all right, which teams can you beat and which teams can you not? Are you going to have trouble with? And the Browns really don't play a fantastic team the rest of the year. The Texans might be the best team they play the rest of the year. They play the Steelers, Broncos, Rams, Jags,
Don
at
V
home,
and Tony, hands down on my list for what I am grateful for. Nico, not so much.
Bears,
Damn
Texans,
ass
Jets,
banjo
and
motherfucker.
we might have to have Tony make a comeback so I can do the banjo.
Russell Wilson will kick your ass.
Yeah, I have a feeling Myles Garrett's gonna get old Russell an issue.
Listen, actually, you're not gonna listen. I actually hope that Myles Garrett folds Russell like a fucking lawn chair, because if there's anything that brings me joy, it's when I see him getting planted into the ground by defensive opponents. So that being said, I'm looking forward to Garrett actually pummeling Russell. I actually want that.
Still have a lot of bitterness from those NFC West days, huh?
Who?
With Russell.
Yeah. He's stacked a lot of victories against us. Russell, he and the motherfucker did it last year. And the motherfucker beat us last year when Jimmy threw like a pick 8 or 9 or a pick 9.
That's when you guys had 18 injuries.
No. Was it?
Yeah.
Last year. No. Last year, Jimmy.
You guys had like 3 offensive linemen injured that game. I remember I was watching it. I think Kittle might have been out. Or I
can't remember. I don't remember the injuries. I can't remember who was injured versus Denver.
Yeah,
I just remember
the
Jimmy
Broncos
played like dog water.
The Broncos weren't. I mean, Jimmy was getting put on his ass every play by that defense.
He was getting smoked.
I think Trent Williams went out that game.
Pick 8. I hated that week 3. It was a fucking pick 8. What's up, Brandon? I see you, bro. We miss Tony too, Laney. We really do. I've been thinking about Tony. He just had a birthday the other day, so wish him a happy birthday here in the chat, fam, and we'll pass it along.
Yeah.
The injury game was 2020, motherfucker.
No.
Dude, you've got Izzy in a goddamn rage. Dude, this is not what she needs. She does not need this prior to bedtime.
Sometimes Izzy needs to be riled up a little bit. I mean, it is what it is. It's good for her. Keeps her blood flowing.
Yeah. I'd love to see when she fucking gets a hand across your face. Match you right into fucking 2020 with the rest of those $90 million on IR. He's talking about 2020 when we had 90 million on IR. You keep mixing that up. You always take 2020.
The Broncos
into 2022. I don't understand.
The Broncos game, you had numerous people out last year.
I do believe that we were. I can't remember who.
I know for a fact Trent Williams got hurt that game. You guys didn't have Trent Williams in 2020.
I'm trying to think. The Denver game last year was supposed to be a gimme. We were supposed to win that fucking game. And yes. It was supposed to be, it wasn't supposed to be as difficult as we made it. We played on to our opponent and we struggle. It's weird. I don't know.
It was the 10-11
I don't want to
game.
think about it.
There was the 10-11 game.
It just pissed me off that Russell beats us yet again as a fucking Bronco. That pissed me off so fucking bad.
Let's see.
What are you looking up?
It said San Francisco star left tackle Trent Williams injured his ankle on the play and was done for the night, replaced by Jaylon Moore. That was also a Jaylon Moore. Oh, Jaylon Moore sucks game. There were other injuries on on that game too.
Okay, we lost that game. That's all that matters.
Aziz Al-Shair left in the second quarter with a knee injury. Yeah, there's a couple times.
Okay, nonetheless, I just want Garrett to fold him.
He will. I mean, they're gonna try and run the ball a ton, but the Browns have a good run defense. Like Russ's ability to stay in that pocket is going to be really, really rough when Dalvin Tomlinson and Myles Garrett and Darius Smith are in his junk. I'm not really worried about that game because I think we match up really great against the Broncos. It is a mile high though. So
yeah, I mean, for me, we play Seattle twice yet. Baltimore, play Baltimore on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Play Seattle twice. Baltimore. And who else? Oh, Philly. Play Philly.
You guys got some rough ones left.
Yeah, they could be rough. They shouldn't be rough. We should be able to handle Seattle without really, we should be able to handle Seattle.
Did you guys play the Cardinals? Yeah, you guys played the Cardinals already. You guys get to play Cardinals with Kyler Murray.
Yes.
That's not, I don't know how cakewalk of a game that is. You play the Seahawks twice. I think at the very least you'll win one of those. Probably both.
I think we win both. I see the fan base kind of has us splitting them. Only because
Eagles game's big.
We play at 12 men.
Eagles game's big. I would love it if you beat the Ravens.
Shit.
Then after that, I think pretty much. But you guys got like 3 or 4 tough games left.
On Christmas, if we don't win on Christmas, I'll be pissed. That will fucking ruin my holiday. It really will. It will piss me off. It will. Only because Lamar can be a slithering motherfucker. He's sneaky.
Again.
We struggle. We truly struggle with mobile quarterbacks. Maybe not so much now. If we can contain the pocket, if we can flush him out and let Fred clean him up, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Flush him out to Dre and Fred and let them handle him. Final thoughts.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. Give me your final thoughts.
I mean, I really don't have any more thoughts than I already had. But I'll just kind of summarize it up. I think the Browns had a signature victory. I think Lamar Jackson's back. He looks as good as ever. And is he back all the way? Is he 2019 version of Deshaun Watson? No, but he's back to being a guy who can potentially lead this team to a Super Bowl and win games for us, just like he did last week. The fact that we did it with basically our top backup tackle and our fourth I mean, we had both starting tackles out and our top backup tackle out. So we were down to our fourth and fifth tackles, and we still were able to somehow control the game against the team with the most sacks in the league. Actually, absolutely ridiculous. David Njoku, he's a beast. He's become kind of my favorite Browns player. He's absolutely an animal when he gets the ball in his hands. He does need to catch his easy passes, but when he gets the ball in his hands, he's something special. I think he's actually become. I'll put him up with Kittle and Kelsey. I'll put him up in that conversation. I think if Kyle Shanahan had, remember when we kind of were joking about the 49ers signing Njoku? Like, could you imagine if they had Njoku right now. Njoku and Kittle. You're muted right now.
I do remember. I remember when we joked about it. I actually
Could you imagine
I was very, very serious about that.
Can you imagine having those two beasts on the end of
I could not.
the offensive line?
That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. If we had Njoku, I very much like Njoku. That's a very talented tight end. I like Njoku. I really do. If I had to pick one of my favorite players on that team besides Nick Chubb, it's definitely Njoku. For sure. For sure. And I like Posek.
As far as the Niners, good win last week. Build upon it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys go out, take care of Baker Mayfield.
We talked about Dorsey. I hated on Njoku. There was a time where I did. There was a time, but why though? Why did I?
I think she's talking about me. Yes, at one point in time.
Njoku that's right. That's right. I read it wrong. My bad.
Yeah, at one point in time, Njoku was a non-factor. Things change. Probably wasn't his fault. Probably was coaching. Probably they weren't using him right.
Dude, there's a good chance that Stefanski was. That's why I think that Stefanski's still a liability to you.
No, when Stefanski got here, that's when Njoku started playing better. It was the other coaches, the other dipshits that were in here prior to that weren't using him right. Under Stefanski, Njoku's improved tremendously.
I think Njoku improved because of his extension.
But usually players try to play up to that extension. The Browns actually took a risk because Njoku hadn't really done.
He had a neck injury
necessary.
He came back from, and then they extended him.
Yeah, but he hadn't done in like 4 years what was necessary for him to get that contract. They kind of went out on a limb. He had played slightly better that previous season, but they kind of went out on a limb and said, this guy's got a lot of potential. We need to keep him. And the potential's paid off. He went from not being a good blocker to being an elite tight end blocker. He's one of the best. He's one of the best in the league at blocking. And now he's turned into this ridiculous yak guy, which honestly, he might be the most important offensive player we have right now. Like, there is no more important player. Yeah. There is no more important player. Like Amari Cooper, there's an argument to be made there. But without that yak potential that Njoku gives us, like, you can't throw Harrison Bryant out there and him give you even close to that production. And defenses will look at you with less of a worry. Like, Njoku is very
Dre Greenlaw did improve after an extension. That's true. It's true. Well, I mean, for me, bro, I'm trying to stack back-to-back defensive efforts. I want to see this defense do it again and again and again. Chase Young and Nick Bosa are probably two of the. They're going to be very scary. They're ramping him up into this offense. Or I'm sorry, they're ramping him up into this defense.
He had a sack last week, right?
Half a sack.
Chase Young had a half a sack.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, he came onto this team with 5 under his belt.
I mean, that was a good pickup for you guys. My viewpoint on it, even before last, I'll give you my viewpoint on it before last game. I thought it was a very good deal. It was a no risk deal. It only had positive potential. And, it's something I wish the Browns would have done, honestly, because we could use another edge rusher. I mean, if Za'Darius goes down, then we're pretty much up to Obo and really no one else. I mean, Alex Wright, yeah, kind of, but I mean,
no, I like Za'Darius Smith. I thought when I was in Cleveland, he was lights out electric. He really was. He was awesome. I'll give you that. Definitely an upgrade from Clowney in previous seasons. So
listen, here's the thing. I don't know if Clowney is that bad because Clowney has played his ass off this year for the Baltimore Ravens. He has had a tremendous year. It could be just Joe Woods.
It could have been. It could have been.
Everyone was unhappy under Joe Woods.
Yeah.
Like, look how good Jordan Elliott's played. Look how good Jordan Elliott's played under Jim Schwartz. He was so bad under Joe Woods that everyone wanted to cut him. Every Browns fan that knows a lick about football wanted the Browns to cut Jordan Elliott. We were pissed when they kept him. And not only has he been adequate, he's been really good. He's been really good under Jim Schwartz. Joe Woods, horrible.
That's kind of my fear moving forward. I don't want Wilkes to become a Woods, a Joe Woods. I really don't, man. I do believe that whatever was discussed during the bye, however Wilkes and Shanahan got on the same page together during the bye, I saw something versus the Jags. I saw Wilkes on the sideline, which I thought was crazy and force-fed, even though I'm guilty for criticizing it and wanting him down there. And then as we're approaching that game, we're talking about how Wilkes is going to come down from the booth now. He's going to be on the sideline. And I kept thinking to myself, man, this seems so fucking forced and fake and weird and awkward. But then when I saw him down there chopping it up with the boys, it's probably best that he's down there. Listen, if there's something you want to say to a DB, you could say it. You don't have to pass it along. There are as far as communication is concerned, having your presence on the sideline, communicating to your captain, just chopping it up with your players, it's better. It's better.
What happens? It's easy to do that when things are going good. When things are going bad, what are they going to do? Like, what's Wilkes going to do?
I don't know. When your guys are coming off the field, let them tell you what they see. Rather than playing fucking telephone from the booth to the field, that face-to-face presence can make all the difference.
I just don't think Steve Wilkes is that guy.
Nick, I'm telling you, with the feedback of your players on the sideline, you can probably make faster adjustments on the fly. You don't have to wait till halftime to make those game time adjustments.
D'Amico is a guy that I feel like would make you run through a brick wall. Saleh is a guy that I feel like would make you run through a brick wall. I agree. I feel like that's a good thing to have him on the sideline for that purpose.
I agree.
You get your players all riled up. He can go and slap the ass or pound their helmet or do something like that. Come on, motherfucker. But Steve Wilkes is just going to stand there like Steve Wilkes does. You're not going to get too much emotion from Steve Wilkes.
Yes, Izzy. I saw it. I did. I saw it. There is some forced. I don't know if what we saw, Izzy, it seemed forced and phony. It did. Because of what he just said. He's not a rah-rah guy. Steve Wilkes isn't that guy on the sideline that's going to chest bump you, and smack you over the head with his Surface tablet. You know what I'm saying? That's not him. But I'm willing. No, Izzy, I'm actually wearing a Chase Young jersey. Can you see it? Is it high? Can she see it?
I'm gonna leave you with one thing. If you get a chance, go YouTube it. Myles Garrett's second sack on Lamar Jackson. He had 2 sacks in a row. It was actually his first sack was a half sack. His second sack was a full sack. Go watch the full sack. It's one of the more comical things you'll ever see. He bends the corner, and then grabs the offensive tackle as if he was a pillow and literally throws him. And the offensive lineman at one point in time is like this in the air. It's one of the more comical things you'll see.
No, Laney, it's not. This is an Ohio State. This is an Ohio State jersey for Chase Young. It's his college jersey. That's all. I would not be caught in public with a Browns jersey unless I lost the bet.
You might make that bet.
Listen,
all
Nick,
right, let's wrap it up. 2 hours.
Listen, there are things that Myles Garrett does that I love. I'm a big fan of Myles Garrett, dude. A lot of people listen, if you're a football fan, you appreciate Myles Garrett. You appreciate good
greatness
and great. He is great. He's great. Listen, he's single-handedly right now leading the league in sacks, I think, and he's also the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, or at least he should, because he's been lights out. And I really do. A lot of people think this is a Browns jersey. That's terrible.
That's nothing. I mean, I guess if you're looking at them side by side, they kind of look similar.
You would
notice if you were face to face, you would notice that this is brown and that's black. So, no Ohio State jersey. But we've been here way too long, although it has been great to see you guys.
Laney, we got Chase Young, and Chase Young was a Ohio State Buckeye, and he was drafted to Washington. So I'm a Buckeye fan, so I was excited to have him join my 49ers. I'm very blessed to have two edge rushers from the Buckeyes on my Niners. It's really special for me. All right, bro. It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun looking at your face. So with that said, family, Nick and I will see you back here. Nick, you working next week?
I think I'm off.
You want to let me know for a fact so we can plan it?
How about we do that after the show ends?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, family. For everybody that joined us tonight, man, Nick and I appreciate you guys more than you know. It's been 2 hours, and I've had a lot of fun, but I'm sick of looking at Nick, so I'm going to sign off. Listen, family, join us on Tuesday nights at 9:30. This is the Locker Room Rant signing off. Peace. Hold on. Not ready. This is the Locker Room Rant signing off. Peace.